Hey there, if you're watching this, you probably know the feeling. You log into Ancestry.com and there it is, that little green shaking leaf. It's a dopamine hit. It's exciting. It's the platform telling you, hey, we found your great grandmother. You click the leaf, you click yes, you click save to tree, and suddenly your family tree has grown by 3 generations in 10 minutes. It feels productive. It feels like magic, but I'm here to be the bearer of some bad news. This is how you are building your family tree. You aren't building a history. You're building a house of cards. My name is Franklin, and this is the Family History Foundation. Welcome back, and glad to have you here. Today, we're going to talk about seven biggest ancestry tree family mistakes. Today, we're going to walk through the 7 biggest mistakes people make on Ancestry.com. I see these errors every single day from beginners and even from people who have been researching for years. These mistakes create genealogical viruses that infect not just your tree, but thousands of other trees online. So by the end of this video, we are going to fix your methodology. We're going to move you from a clicker to a researcher. So let's dive in. Mistake number 1 is what I call shaky leaf syndrome. This is blindly accepting ancestry hints without reviewing them. Huge no-no. You have to understand how the algorithm works. Ancestry's computer is just matching text strings. It sees a John Smith born in 1850 in Ohio in your tree, and it sees a John Smith born in 1850 in Ohio in a census record, and it suggests a match. But here's the problem. There were probably 50 men named John Smith born in Ohio in that year. If you just click accept because the name and year match, you might be attaching a stranger to your family tree. Well, I'll be honest. I did this a few times when I started, and I think we all have, which is why I'm bringing it forward to you. I once accepted a hint of an ancestor that moved from Virginia down to Texas in the same year that I was researching my great-great-grandfather. And just because the names match, I spent 3 months sort of researching the wrong family, and my gut was telling me this because I trusted the leaf. So don't be like the past version of Franklin. Verify the leaf. Or as I like to say, don't leaf it to chance. The fix is simple, but requires discipline. Never click yes until you have opened the actual image of the record. Read the handwriting. Look at who else is living in the household. If your John Smith is supposed to be married to Mary, but the John Smith in the hint is married to Margaret or Penelope, well, that is a red flag. Do not accept it just in case. Leave it pending or reject it. Mistake number 2 is the single most dangerous action you can take on Ancestry, copying data from public member trees. Oh boy, this is so tempting, but so bad. You know, when you research for an ancestor, Ancestry often shows you other users' tree as a top result. It is so tempting to see that someone else has traced your line back to the year 1600. You think, wow, they did all the work for me, and you copy it over. Well, stop. Just stop. Okay, right now, most public member trees are unsourced, unverified, and full of massive errors. Good on them for trying, but don't you dare jump in that pool. When you copy a tree, you're copying all of their mistakes, and someone copies your tree. It creates a feedback loop of bad information. And we call this circular genealogy. And this is where bad information becomes systemic. If you see a tree that looks promising, treat it as a hint, not a fact. Look at their profile. Did they attach birth certificates, wills, census records, or is it just a list of names and dates with no verifiable proof? If they have a source you don't have, go find that specific source yourself. Verify it and add the source to your tree, not the person's tree. Be the firewall that stops bad information from spreading. Mistake number 3 seems minor, but it causes major headaches later. Inconsistent formatting of names, dates, and places. Let's clear this up right now. If you type in 1/5/1900, is that January 5th or May 1st? Think about it. In America, it's January. In the UK and Europe, it's May, right? If you share your tree internationally, you are actually confusing people. You want to adopt the genealogical standard. So here we go. For dates, always use day, 3-letter month, full year, like 12 October 1895. There is no ambiguity there, and that's the way it should be. For places, always go smallest to biggest. City, county, state, country. Ancestry will usually suggest this automatically as a format, so let it. And as for names, simply capitalize the first letter. Some old school researchers, and I got to put myself into this category, put surnames in all caps. And I used to do this a lot too. And that's a stylistic choice, but consistency is key. A messy tree is a hard to research tree. So let's take a quick breath and review where we are. We are reviewing hints skeptically. We are ignoring unsourced member trees, and we are cleaning up our date formats. Yeah. So if you're just doing these 3 things, you're already in the top 10% of researchers on the site. But now we're going to go even deeper. The next mistakes are about how you research. So mistake number 4 is having direct line vision. This is when you only research your direct ancestors. And I've talked about this in so many different videos. Parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. And you ignore their brothers and sisters, the siblings, the magic of siblings. This is a rookie mistake that leads to brick walls. Why? Because your direct ancestor might have been the quiet one who never left a paper trail, but maybe his brother was loud, litigious, and wealthy. In genealogy, we call this collateral research or collateral line research, or looking at the fan club. And I've spoken about this earlier. Friends, associates, and neighbors. Yeah, siblings are the most important part of this. A brother's obituary might list your ancestor's parents when your ancestor's obituary does not. A sister's marriage record might list the mother's maiden name when your ancestors didn't. If you are stuck on a direct ancestor, stop looking at them. Stop engaging in analysis paralysis. Research their siblings. I guarantee you will find a backdoor to that answer. Mistake number 5. Failing to cite your sources, and we are so all guilty of this. Imagine you find a birth date for your great-grandfather written on a scrap of paper. Yeah, you type it into Ancestry. 5 years later, you look at that date and ask, wait, is that right? Where did I get that? If you don't cite the source, you have to do the research again. So look, now I know citing sources is kind of boring. It's a little bit redundant, but it's not, and maybe it doesn't feel like the fun part. It feels like homework, yeah? But think of the future you. Future you is going to be really annoyed with the present you if you don't write down where you found that marriage date. Be kind to future you and attach the record. Take that 1 millisecond of time that it's going to take to include that record, and you will be much happier. So Ancestry makes this relatively easy, actually. When you accept a valid record hint, it creates a citation for you. But when you add information manually, like from a family Bible or a conversation with a relative, you need to create a source citation manually, even if the source is just phone call with grandma 2024, write it down. Mistake number 6 is a doozy. It's creating duplicate people. This usually happens when you find a record that spells the name slightly differently, Jon versus John, and Ancestry asks if you want to add a new person. If you aren't careful, you click add new instead of merge. Suddenly, your tree has 3 versions of your great-grandpa, and the records are split between them. Oh boy, this breaks the algorithm. Ancestry won't give you good hints because it thinks these are 3 different people. So check your tree health regularly. Go to your tree overview and look at the list of all your people. If you see duplicates, you need to use the merge person tool immediately. It combines the facts and sources into one profile. Keep your garden weeded, or it will become overgrown and unmanageable and untamable. And finally, mistake number 7. This is the one that keeps me up at night. It really does. Relying 100% on Ancestry.com, although I absolutely adore the place, as the only place your data lives. Yeah, you do not own Ancestry.com. I don't own Ancestry.com. You rent space there on their servers. So think about this. If you stop paying your subscription, something happens. You lose access to the records that you attached. Everything goes down. If their site goes down, or if your account gets hacked, your decades of hard work could vanish instantly. Not to throw a scare wrench at you, but you know, this is the truth and the reality. But hey, we have a whole video on the 3-2-1 data preservation plan, which I will link below. But here's the short version. Yeah, you need to regularly download your tree as a GEDCOM file. This is it. It's a raw file in genealogy format of your family tree. Store that file on your computer and on an external drive. Better yet, sync your Ancestry tree with desktop software like RootsMagic or Family Tree Maker. Yeah, this way on your own data, not the corporation. Building a family tree is a marathon. It is not a sprint. It is tempting to race through clicking every leaf and adding every name, but a smaller, accurate tree is infinitely better than a massive tree full of fiction. Avoid these 7 mistakes and you will build a legacy that your descendants can actually trust. Now, I want to hear from you. Be honest, which of these mistakes have you made? I've admitted to mine, and literally I can say from my beginning as a genealogist over 20 years, I've probably committed all these mistakes. So let me know in the comments below which mistakes you have made. And hey, if you found this helpful, please hit that like button, smash that like button. It really helps my channel. And subscribe for more Family History Fridays, more family history tips. And thank you. And don't forget to head over to familyhistoryfoundation.com and sign up for our newsletter so you never miss a guide on preserving your family's past. Over there on the blog, there are a plethora of genealogy articles, family history, because again, we are the Family History Foundation, where the past is relative to the future. And I thank you guys so much. Thank you, gals. Thank you, family, for tuning in. Love y'all. See you next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.